Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Penk's Radio Nightmares.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, this is Steve Penk, and welcome to more Radio Nightmares, or as someone described me this week, the king of cock-ups. Yeah, that's me. Howard Stern may be the king of all media, but Steve Penk is the king of cock-ups. Typical. Right, let's get on with the good stuff. And if you're easily offended, great. Keep listening.
I don't any cyclists out there might not be too happy to hear this. Male cyclists, should I add, saddled with third testicle. Cycling may lead to a third testicle developing in men, doctors claim. So if there was anything to make you not cycle, this is it. People may believe they're getting on the ball, twice, by getting on their bikes. But a South African report says rubbing between the bum and saddle can cause a cyclist's nose to grow. So be warned, men. Your husband cycles, Emma, doesn't he? Yeah?
A lot. I don't really tend to look, though, or count down that region, so... But you've given me a really nice image for the weekend.
Frank is looking after our social media. He fell off his chair. just be gentle with yourself as you fall off that chair, or else you could be tri-man as well. Well, look, not really related to this, but the next story I have says, mystery as woman survives.
Do you want me to read it?
Yeah, you read that one.
Oh God, is this serious now? I've been laughing. Mystery is woman survives 17-day bush ordeal. Sorry, I know you're laughing after that.
It's a mania. I'm tired. Stop it. Oh, we better...
Will we go to a song?
No, you're crying now. So he had triple balls and a 17 bush... a 17-day bush trial. No, I'm fine. Okay, read the next one. What's the next one say?
Emma, you read it?
Read the next one, Emma.
Blow your horn to support ban on smoking in cars. I think we should take a song. This is actually getting worse.
Finally, a lighter note on the theme of crime and punishment is struck by a Daily Star headline writer. Presented with a report that the French Justice Minister is planning a referendum on whether convicts should get conjugal visits in prison, he or she came up with the headline, France votes on porridge oats. Well, that's a look at the newspapers.
We got 30 days to go. We got 30 days to go. So the countdown is on. If you haven't yet begun, we got 30 days to buy something for Mum. Is she easy to buy for? Oh no. Has she dropped any hints yet? Oh no. Maybe perfume again. And for Dad, a fan of pen. You got 30 days before.
I want to start that one again. Dad wants a fanny. Sorry, I don't mean that. Sorry, a fan of something. You sounded like
a fountain pen.
Yeah, no.
That.
Yes.
What does Dad want? I didn't mean to say that. A fan of something.
So is that you apologising?
His dad is a fan of... Yeah, absolutely, sorry.
One year I vote Republican, the next year I vote Democrat. I'm bisexual.
One of the most interesting things about the Dinka is that the greatest possession they have is their songballs, which are called mochien. And I was amazed to see this little boy called Adjuang Makwetch, who was about 8 years old, singing about his father's balls.
Right, well, the time now is 11 minutes to 11, and that means it's time to get back to the town hall and wacko Dave Freeman. Dave.
Hello, Henry, yes, because Tom Bennion... Pardon?
The lady over there who brought the subject up, wouldn't it be rather nice if, in a conversation to me, she would say, but I've heard, and you could dress it up like that?
We could do that if we weren't on live now. MPs never set things up. I wonder if someone's recorded that.
The FA Cup final result has forced colourful politician Pat Wall to shave off his beard. The Millicent supporter is an Everton fanatic and said unless they won the cup, he'd keep his distinctive bristles forever. Bristles forever. Nick Power reports from Bradford.
You are listening to Steve Penk's Radio Nightmares.
Hello, you're on the air.
Hi, Penky. This is Philip Chrysikos. My radio nightmare happened live on air whilst breaking sports news on 95.8 Capital FM. This must have been around about the year 2000 at the time. And we knew we were expecting an imminent announcement on Chelsea's new football manager. We knew it was going to come by at any moment. So, standing by in the 11 o'clock news, I had a script. I also had Jonathan Pearce, our head of sport at the time, the legend that is. It broke during the news bulletin. I read out the news live on air, crossed live to Jonathan Pearce for reaction, and this is what happened. Now, listen carefully to what Jonathan says, and my reaction at the very end. In the days of no Bluetooth in cars, no hands-free in cars, and in the days of, well, Have a listen to my reaction to what Jonathan says at the very end. Crystal Palace will name their new manager in 45 minutes' time. We know Terry Venables and John Barnes are not in the running for the job. Capital's Jonathan Pearce has the latest. JP.
I'm on my way to the press conference now. I'm being driven down to Mitcham in the training ground. A lot of speculation. I've got to break off because a lorry's nearly hit us.
Okay, thanks, Jonathan, and keep it Capital for the very latest. I did have compassion. I still do have compassion. But in live radio, what do you say to that? Thanks, Jonathan. I hope you're okay.
Steve Penk's Radio Nightmares.
Manchester United, perhaps the greatest club in English soccer at this present time. They have failed to assert themselves entirely against third division leaders against Oxford United, third division leaders of the third division, and at half-time they must be very worried because they know that Oxford United, who they have themselves through their own manager, Oxford United have described as possibly one of the best sides in the second division. They have failed to assert themselves.
Well, there we are. We've had 2 British wins, one for Ireland and now one for Germany. And Otto Shaver, the first time that you've jumped here.
Oh, sorry. My name is Stephen. Otto is the name of my horse.
Oh, Stephen, you're quite right. Well done.
The local authority has a duty to provide practical help in the home for deaf-blind people. And if they come up against a brick wall, they really should make use of the new complaints procedure.
Good morning, it's Morning West on BBC Radio Bristol. I'm Roger Bennett until 9 o'clock. In fact, I'm Roger Bennett after 9 o'clock. It's Tuesday the 5th of November.
Mr. Geekas, can I ask you why you voted against?
I did not vote against.
Hello? Hello, you're on the air.
You are listening to Steve Penk's Radio Nightmares.
We'll have some fun.
It's difficult to check every badge owner when parked at the roadside, so the Ministry of Defence... It's difficult to check every badge owner when parked at the roadside, so the Ministry of Defence in its... Oh, for heaven's sake. It's difficult to check every badge owner when parked at the roadside, so the Ministry of Transport in its wisdom has produced a consultative document called the Orange Badge...
It's 12 o'clock. Princess Anne has given birth to a baby boy. Both mother and daughter are doing well.
Here for you is something by Clonard that I simply can't pronounce. It's all in Irish. I don't know. Just listen and see if you can work out what they're saying. Sounds nice. Ah.
But now it's gone.
That's Fleetwood Mac. Fleetwood Mac. Yes, I'll own London Labourer. Fleetwood Mac and Sarah.
There you go, in at joint number 28, that is. That's The Bridge Over Troubled Water. Your next choice, much more recent than that. Released on January the 9th, 1989, and by February the 24th, it was number 2 in the bestsellers. For you, however, it is number 27, and it's Michael Bald.
Love changes everything, hands and faces.
Steady on, Michael. Buck up. Hurry up. That's better.
Love changes everything. Should know by the way you...
Oh dear, we had a slight fault there. Right, here we go, back with the cruise. Sorry about that. It was a deliberate little error by my behalf. I took the wrong one off. You've never done that before. Continue. I feel such a right wally.
You are listening to Steve Penk's Radio Nightmares.
Back again. Give me your love.
Yes, it's the wrong side. We play the wrong side. We're used to playing CDs that don't have 2 sides, but this is a gramophone record, and it does have 2 sides. And this is the one we should have played in the first place, but you can edit it together at home later. Okay? We'll send you some sellotape.
Sunrise. This is the
Bernard Langer moved 5 shots clear of the West German, who shot a 70, and complained after having his ball stick up a tree.
I suppose the major honours must go to 3rd Division Preston North End, who scored twice in the last 8 minutes of their match with Norwich to come from behind and draw 3-0.
You're already posting on the blog. Dennis, the King, says, thank God he's back. It's terrible the way he's been treated. He's the best thing on the BBC. Gary Sims has posted, glad you're back, Jonathan Ross. The show is one of the best things on radio too. Frankly, if I were him, I would have told the BBC to shove it, put my feet up and flick myself off to Trisha for a few weeks. I don't know what that means. Eric in Eastbourne has emailed Ross as a cad.
BBC Radio Sheffield, it's 6 o'clock Monday morning with the news. Here's Everard.
Yes, good morning. Sorry, I was busy doing something else. Looked up there, it's 6 o'clock.
Time flies, eh?
But don't worry, I'm ready.
It's early.
Just. Now, British diplomats in Iran are pressing the authorities for more details on the whereabouts of the 15 Royal Navy personnel seized at gunpoint in the Gulf. The Foreign Secretary, Margaret Beckett, has again demanded the immediate and safe return of the British personnel. The American Secretary of State, Condoleezza Rice, has backed that British call.
It's critically important.
Oh, dear. Anyway, she only spoke very briefly, did Condoleezza Rice. We'll hear her later, no doubt, this morning. Investigators in Jamaica are examining now the closed-circuit television.
Now, Christine says, I looked across the pillow to my now ex-husband a few years ago and found that he was reading Get to Know Your Septic Tank. Do you blame me for parting? Well, Christine, you know, do you get to know your septic tank might be Cockney, some weird Cockney slang for wife. No, septic tank, smells, whiff, wife. He may have been trying to save the marriage.
Well, I wonder if that book does exist. I want to hear from Christine's ex-husband. It's 7:46.
Almost half the workforce will go in the city. The company is partly blaming the global credit crunch.
And that's BBC Radio Sheffield News. It's 3 minutes past 2. Jimmy will be with us in a sec or two. I can just tell you, by the way, just before he joins us in the studio, that work is underway on a major...
Take enable. What have I done? What have I fucking done here? Keep going. Studio one, select, enable. And, fucking hell. Stay there.
Well, I'm from Fairford, but it's near Cirencester. I thought you'd know where Cirencester was rather than Fairford.
I know where Fairford is.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, it's near Cirencester.
It's Fairford, isn't it?
Fairford.
You say potato, I say potato. Which causes me all sorts of trouble when I go out for dinner. And lunch is a nightmare.
Especially in France when they say pomme de tits.
Pomme de tits.
They say what?
Is that what they say?
Is that what they call them, Dave?
Why did they say that?
That's a new one.
What's that? Why say that?
Which parts of France do you go to, Dave?
I meant pomme de tits. You say potato, I say potato. You say pomme de tits, I say pomme de tits. Brilliant.
I do apologise for anyone that was offended by... Wow.
Steve Penk's Radio Nightmares.
Right, that's it for this edition of Radio Nightmares. There's more next time. If you want to get in touch or if you have any Radio Nightmares, do send them in. You can email radionightmares@gmail.com. That's radionightmares@gmail.com. And there's more Radio Nightmares next time.